Oh, sorry. I'm always so tickled when the camera, before you start recording, the camera never looks as close as it really is as when you actually press record. So I'm thinking the camera is far enough back where I don't feel like you're looking up my nose. And then I press record and it's like, bam! My bad. I'm being lazy. I'm sitting on my bed. I don't feel like getting up. I don't feel like moving. I just want to chill for a minute. I've been doing a lot of rituals and spells, spiritual work, and readings these past couple of days because one, spring equinox, everybody wants love and fertility spells and this type of thing. Find a lover, find a possible lover, attraction this time of year, which I love that part of it. But also we had the lunar eclipse that just happened, and with that, I do astrology, so I decided last minute that I wanted to do a sale for the lunar eclipse. Why, I don't know, but it worked out because I have a great response. And now I gotta get the readings done. So I'll take a little break and I'll sit here before I forget to do this video. That was a little too much for y'all. I'm sorry. But let me rewind. Bring it back. Hey guys, my name is Dia, aka Ori's of ORI'S.com, and you're watching Witches of the Moon, and this week's topic is interspiritual relationships. Now, the first thing I want to say about interspiritual relationship is that it can work. It can work. Any two religions or non-religions, spiritual paths can work. You just have to one, want to make it work, want to put in the effort, and two, have a very good open mind. Um, and three, be respect. And three, be respectful. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree. Just be respectful of the other person. Now, in saying that, um, I grew up in an inter spiritual relationship. My parents are no longer together, but I did experience that. And in saying that, my mom was Roman Catholic, well, is Roman Catholic, and my dad is Muslim. And I don't mean just any Muslim. My dad is that black power Muslim with his little light skin behind. But that's what he is. And my mom is Roman Catholic. And for any of y'all know, that's one of the whitest part of Catholics you can be. So I don't even know how they stayed together so long, but they did. Anyway, I'm rambling. But in that, where I'm going with this is as the child in the relationship and watching them two interact, I learned that respect has to be there. Like I've seen the stupid arguments where my dad would go, "The lips that touch swine will never touch mine," blah 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 blah, and my mom, being the low key smart ass that she is, would just cook bacon for breakfast. she she would just cook bacon for breakfast when he started with that foolishness. And he would just get pissed off because he wasn't sure if the bacon touched the eggs, which it did. My mom would cook the eggs in the bacon grease afterwards. And it would really be nothing he could really eat for breakfast unless he cooked it himself. But that's one. That's one of the bad parts of it. Don't do that. I mean, unless y'all just know y'all both assholes, y'all doing it for fun, fine. But don't do that. That's. Mm-mm. But in saying that and bringing that up, which has happened more than once, it taught me how to be a little more respectful in other relationships. Now, before I get into um, spousal relationships or couple relationships, I want to get more into um, parent-child relationship as a child. Now, again, my parents separated before I turned 15, and around 15 is where I found a fascination with the Wicca. And I came home and I think I told y'all this story before. I came home and I told my mother that now keep in mind before I came, for y'all young kids watching this who are different, one of different spiritual paths to your parents. I'm going to say if you live in your house, in your parents' house, respect them. You can always do what you want to do once you move. But I will say make an effort to talk to them. Excuse me, if it's possible. I don't believe in disrespecting your parents' home or doing things like that. Only because if you get caught, it's going to get worse. So whatever. Um, but getting back to what I was saying, or to my story or whatever, I came home. And what happened was I met this girl in high school, and she just looked at me and it was just something about me. Whatever, we hooked up, we started talking. She told me about them. She wanted to meet people in our coven, and one of the people from our coven was picking her up after school, and I got to meet and talk with him. And I did to my mother that night. The next day, because I asked him for more information for basically, information and contact information for the people higher up in the coven. So the next day, she came to school, she brought me all the information. And what I did was I went home and I sat down with my mom. I said, Mom, I really need to talk to you. Now, I don't know what my mom was thinking when I said, Mom, I need to talk to you. She probably was just happy to hear that I wasn't pregnant. But I went home and I talked to her and I was like, "Why do you talk to you?" You know that mom looked like, "Oh Lord, what this child about to say now?" So she tried to keep a blank face. You know that blank face when you don't really want to show your emotion? That's the face my mama gave me. So I sat her down and I told her, I want to be Wiccan. She didn't even know what that was. So I had to explain to her. And then she was like, "Is that the devil stuff?" And I was like, um, I don't know. Because at the time I really didn't know. Um, But I explained to her, the best I could what Wicca is and how it was explained to me. And I gave her all the contact information. I mean, from the high priestess down to the girl I went to school with. And, for her to contact them and talk to them. And I think she agreed to it, one, because she probably thought it was just a phase. Because I went through a lot of phases. So she probably thought it was just a phase. And two, I think she respected the way that I presented it to her. Like, I didn't present it to her as if it was just some fly by night thing. I actually had information for her to have, so we could sit down and have an actual conversation. And she let me. Now, in saying that, she did not agree in what I did, but she gave me my space to do certain things and to learn and grow. Now, she would not take me to occult stores. She was about to do that. But she did give me money to go get little things that I needed from the shop to do little rituals and things like that. And she did a couple of them. She acted like she wasn't watching, but I saw her creeping in the distance like, what's she doing? And saying all that, when it's a parent-child relationship, just like you have to let your child go through different phases, whether it be from basketball to football to hockey to soccer, or from dance to now wanting to be a makeup artist to wanting to walk on the tightrope in the circus. That was me as a child. I wanted to walk on the tightrope at the circus. Just like you let your child go through these phases physically, you also need to let them go through these phases spiritually so they're not stunted, so they can understand why they do things, and so the things that they do can have a more of a connection to it and not just a fly by night be pulled to do anything and everything for no reason. Now, again, this is me, this is my experience, this is what I believe. Everybody does not have to believe the same way, but y'all ain't on this channel, I am. So I'm saying what I believe. Uh, I do think the child needs a place to grow, needs a comfortable place to grow with boundaries. I do believe with boundaries. I said already in the other video about raising witchy kids or spiritual kids, things like that, that I do not believe children of a certain age should be doing defensive magic. And also I don't believe children of a certain age should be going to Bible camp. I just don't, I'm not sending my kid away from me that long. But again, that's just me. I don't think they should be doing that, especially when you can't get someone you know what's going on. Mm-mm. It could be witchy camp for all I care. My child ain't 16, 17. My child ain't going. But you know what I mean? I feel as though there should be boundaries there, protective boundaries for themselves. But there also should be always communication so they can come to you with anything that they're feeling, even if they don't understand it. Now, I'm not saying you have to respect it. I'm not saying you have to allow everything, which I already said, but you should try to attempt to understand it and understand where it's coming from, and don't always try to do an exorcism on your kids, because if you try, they may end up like me. Which may or may not be a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. Okay, so with that being said, let's move over to spousal relationships, lover relationships. I don't know what to call it, but you get what I mean. With that, can it work? Yes, because me and my husband are working. We've been together for over a decade now. So that can work. It's saying that you have to be very, very respectful, and the conversation needs to be had of how it's going to go down. Can y'all hear my kids in the background? They are losing their damn mind. But the conversation needs to be had of what is going to be which person's ritual space, what the spiritual space needs to be had. Even if it's a small apartment, you could do maybe a top of a dresser for one person or in the top table for other, and it could be like a multi-purpose where at the time of the ritual, this is your space to set up, but then once it's set up, it has to go away because you don't have much space, or if y'all do have the space, I believe it's very important for people to have the spiritual space in their relationship where they can go there and they can do what it is they need to do without the other person huffing and puffing. I also believe that, well, I know that y'all need to sit down and talk realistically about what things are on both sides without, I can't say without judgment because I don't believe that you can do anything without judgment, but you should come to the table with the intent to learn, not agree, but to learn and to understand. So, and to me, that's how you make it work. Now, when you get into that, you also get into relatives who get into relatives who are family members. How does interrelationship, interspiritual relationships work that way? For me, they don't live in your house. They don't matter. That's just how I feel. I don't feel you should be disrespectful to your now people your own age, but as far as your elders, mother, father, whatever, and you're out the house, aunts, uncles who are older than you, that you would consider elders in your family, um, depending on their age, I wouldn't even tell them. If somebody else tell them, then we'll have the conversation. But depending on the age, I wouldn't tell them. Like, if my great grandma was 96 years old and she been a Christian all her life, I'm not about to tell her, hey, grandma, I'm now playing with the devil, boo. Yeah, no, I'm not about to do that. I'm not trying to kill her. Like, just certain things I don't believe is worth doing. But when it comes to them visiting your house, now here's where, um, to me, this is where it all comes to play at. At their house, their rules, that's fine. I'm not taking out my jewelry or changing my jewelry when I go to the house. But, I will stay outside, or by jewelry, I mean this. I mean, as far as other jewelry, I don't wear it when I go over there, just out of respect for them. And I believe, you're going into their personal space. If you know that, it's one thing if you're out and you just happen to drop by. It's another thing where you get up and you have the intent of going over there. I do believe you should make an effort, especially for the elderly people, not to give them a heart attack. That's all I'm saying. You don't need to raise their blood pressure. Their food probably already doing it for them. So, um, that's one thing. Now, with them coming over your house, there needs to be a conversation of what respect is going to be. Now, of course, they're going to say what they want to say, and for me, that goes in one ear out the other over a certain age. Under a certain age, I'm going to cut you. Say something to me, I'm going to say something back, and you're going to get your feelings hurt. That's how I feel on that part. But over a certain age, they too old to change. They too old to even think about changing. They're too old to even entertain the idea of it. And there's so many layers of emotional attachment to their current spirituality. Like, one, this has helped them all their life, so why isn't it good enough for you? Two, this is what they raised you to be. So on the other hand, that's their tradition, and you're supposed to carry on that tradition. I mean, there's so many things that come into play. The reason why that they're not going to entertain the idea, and then of course they truly believe it. So I don't even mess with them on that. But when they come into your house, it needs to be said that certain things are not to be touched. Period. I don't believe you should have to hide it because this is your space, that's your home that they're coming into your they're coming into your vibration, into your realm. So therefore, the rules have been set. This is not to be done. Now, if those rules are broken, they just don't come over no more. You just go visit them at their house and leave it at that. That's how I feel as far as family members and things like that. Now, family members of my age. I'm sorry if I'm talking real fast and it sounds like I'm rambling, but it's like coming to my head like this. Now, family members of my age, I mostly try to stay away from the conversation. Oh, I need to close that window. I mostly try to stay away from the conversation, but if the conversation is like in my face directly at me, then I'll try education at first, but I'm not above sarcasm and being the asshole. No, I'm not. And I will hurt somebody's feelings. Should you do what I do? I don't know. Probably not. Calls on the situation. Okay, so I think I cover all parts of relationships and interspiritual relationships. And so since I am in one, y'all probably want to know how we made it work. And I don't think I'm the only one on this channel who's in one. Um, so basically, like I said, I started out in Wicca. Now, my husband was always raised in the church, and not on just any church, the Church of God in Christ. Did I say that right? Church of God is COGIC. Yeah, the crazy people. The Church of God of Christ. I mean, these are old school church people where you still have to wear a skirt, no jewelry. The women still have to wear a skirt. There's supposed to be no jewelry. Their head should be covered. Going to church and okay. And me being me the way I was when he met me, I was in the closet because I was going to church. I did belong to a church at the time, and I loved that church at the time. At the time, Sharon Baptist was my church, but they've been through some things since then. I don't know how they doing now, but at the same time, I still did my thing on the side. I had my stuff that I've learned from the time I was 15 to the time I met my husband. The Wiccan stuff, the Viking stuff, the Kemetic stuff, the hoodoo stuff. I had all this stuff incorporated into my life. So, with all this stuff, this video is gonna be long. Oh, it's gonna take long to upload. I'm sorry, y'all. But with all this stuff being incorporated into my life on a regular basis, when I met him, it didn't bother him at first. I don't think he truly understood. He just thought I was a little bit different, a little bit Afrocentric, and a little bit I don't know, just a little eccentric, which most people think for some odd reason. Um, so it didn't bother him until we decided to. And when we first met, we didn't decide to be a couple. When we first met, we really was just hanging out. And then after a while, we realized, we really didn't, like, since the day we met, we really haven't separated. So we started, talking about relationships or whatever. And that's when we had the talk, the spiritual talk. It's kind of like having the sex talk, but it's a spiritual talk that you should have. And I explained to him the things that I do, and he wasn't with it. He tried to argue me down, but when it comes to the Bible, boo, you ain't winning that one at all. So, plus at that time we had already had sex, so you're not about to Bible bash me when you didn't have sex before marriage. I'm just being real. Ain't gonna happen. Uh, but we had that conversation, and we both came to the conclusion, well, how this is gonna work is that I do what I do, just so in a way where he can't see it. And which was fine because most of the things I already had hidden in plain sight anyway. And it wasn't until years later that when he started opening up, he started asking me, Dear, what's this? Dear, what's that? And I was like, huh? But yeah, so we did that or whatever, and he did ask that I would come to church, which was fine. I didn't mind going to church, but he had to go to my church. That's the only way he was getting me to go to church with him. I was not joining his family's church. Not going to happen. Yes, they had a family church, y'all. No, not going to happen. I'm too rude to be in a family church. It's too, I can't do it. So he joined my church or whatever, and the other rule was if you was going to join my church, you have to take Bible study classes to understand the Bible with the church and also with me. And this way you can understand where I come from and how I do what I do and how it does connect to your path. And maybe you can learn something else about your path too. So that was part of the rule. So we went through that for the longest time. And of course, we hopped church to church because we moved to different states. And then it got to the point where the discrepancies, because I don't want to down the church because they have its place too, but certain discrepancies he started to see more and more, and it started to bother him. And then the more he studied, like they said, you can study yourself right out the Bible, and if you study hard, you will study yourself right out the Bible. And that's what he did. He took his studies to another level, started studying hard, and then he started connecting to what I do. And he asked me to study more with him, so I did. We studied together, and then from there he started asking more and more questions about what it is I do, why do I do that, where does it come from, and then he started wanting to do it with me. And now, keep in mind, when I say he wanted to do it with me, this was about a couple of years ago, about 3 years back, where he started to want to actually do stuff with me. In our whole 12 years of being together, just 3 years ago, he started wanting to do stuff with me. And now he's on his own path of doing things on his own and also with me, on his new level of spirituality. Where am I looking at? I don't know if I'm looking at the camera or what. I don't know. But he's on his own path now of doing his own things. My voice getting scratchy. I'm sorry, y'all. I apologize. And now we're here. Where now he has stuff that he does on his own. We have stuff that we do together. It's great, but it's great. So it can work, y'all. It really can. But again, the level of respect has to be there. Communications has to be there. Boundaries definitely have to be there. Where this is the time you're going to do your practice for your spirituality. This is the time that this person is going to do their practice for their spirituality. If I have to use the same space, be very respectful once you're done and clean up, so that way the next person doesn't have to go through the mental thing of what they can touch, what they can't touch. Um, for me, I mean, I like to hide things in plain sight. That's how I've always been, because I have a lot of newsy family members. So hiding certain things right in front of them, all I had to do was say, "Hey, babe, don't touch this, don't move this," and he go, "Oh, okay." He didn't. It didn't connect. Why? Because I've always been that way. Um, since we met, certain things I don't want to touch, certain things I didn't want to move, so it didn't connect to him until way, way, way later that these things had to do with my spiritual path. He just thought that I was picky and had OCD, which I do, which I did. I don't have OCD no more. 3 kids will kind of knock the OCD right out of you, especially having 3 boys. But yeah, so that's it. I think I rambled long enough. I hope that helped y'all with inner spiritual paths. I hope peeking into my life a little bit that helped y'all with y'all in the spiritual path. If y'all, with someone and they're a different religion, you're trying to figure out how that's going to work, or if your children want to be a different spiritual path than you. Hopefully, my story helped y'all out some, or at least give you, because it is hope. It is, things can go from there. It ain't the end of the world. But don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. For those who are not subscribed, why ain't y'all subscribed yet? Y'all been watching this week after week. Subscribe already. um, for everybody else, do y'all have any stories, spiritual stories, or inner spiritual relationships? Put it down below. If y'all don't, do y'all have any fears about inner spiritual relationships? Put that in the comment down below. Maybe I can get back to it and probably answer some questions and calm some fears down if there are more questions. I try to live as an open book. So I'll answer, if you have any more questions to me, I'll answer as best as I can. Who put the dogs outside? Okay. Seriously, guys, let me go. Let me go because this is already going to take long enough to upload. See you next week.